Pope get elected today, Francis the First. Yes, and them claim and tell you say it's really because the other Pope kind of ill health why him resign. Not go so really. Not really go so at all. Believe you me, not go so.
I want to tell you, though, about another storm, a storm of a different sort entirely happening now. It involves scandal, hypocrisy, conspiracy theories, dysfunctionality, and we're not talking about what's going on in Washington, D.C. This multifaceted storm involves the Vatican and allegations about what could be going on behind the scenes there. There's a string of child sex abuse scandals surrounding some of those who will choose a successor to Pope Benedict. And now surprising allegations against a top British cardinal that some media outlets believe have played some role in why the Pope is stepping down, the first Pope in nearly 600 years to do so. Pope Benedict's last day, is Thursday, after which the College of Cardinals will meet to pick a new pope. Now, as always, they gather in secrecy, but this time their conclave will be accompanied by open, loud controversy. Today, we learned the Archbishop of Scotland will be stepping down after allegations that he made unwanted sexual advances, allegedly to priests in training. He was supposed to be part of the papal conclave. Now he will not be. Cardinal Roger Mahoney, also of Los Angeles, will be part of the conclave, despite damning new revelations about his handling of pedophile priests over many years. Victims and others say that Mahoney should not be part of the group of cardinals choosing a new pope, saying that it sends a terrible message. But in addition to those two scandals, there are those explosive allegations about what may have been going on behind the scenes in Vatican City. More on that now from our Ben Wiedemann.
I will not abandon the church, Benedict told the faithful in St. Peter's Square Sunday. To the tens of thousands who listened and applauded, it was a sentimental farewell. But to investigative newspaper journalist Conchita Di Gregorio, who has delved into alleged wrongdoing at the Vatican, Benedict's words carried different significance. This does not mean to abandon, it means to fight, she says. Last Sunday he said we are fighting against the temptations of power. Temptations that may have proven too strong for some. Di Gregorio is one of two journalists who have reported on allegations of Vatican corruption and blackmail of gay clergy members by male prostitutes. Damning headlines in the Rome daily La Repubblica. Sex and blackmailed careers are behind Benedict XVI's resignation. Compromised perhaps to senior levels, says Ignazio Ingrao, a writer for the news weekly Panorama.
How high does it go? Cardinals? Fino ai cardinali. Sì, cardinals.
The details allegedly contained in a secret dossier prepared by three cardinals investigating leaked and highly sensitive Vatican documents.
Signore Cardinali.
Ingrao says he believes attempts by Pope Benedict at reform were stymied every step of the way by the Church's secretive bureaucracy.
In questi 8 anni il Papa.
In these 8 years, the Pope has repeatedly made calls to stop the divisions, he says, to end the power struggles in the Curia, and to have more transparency. But these calls were not heeded. Vatican officials have strongly denied these claims, but it would be hard to deny the Catholic hierarchy is in crisis. The latest blow, the resignation of Cardinal Keith O'Brien, who stepped down as Archbishop of Scotland amid allegations of inappropriate acts with 4 trainee priests in the 1980s. He remains a cardinal, but says he won't attend the conclave to elect a new pope. Allegations, accusations, and scandal darkening the final days of Benedict's nearly 8-year reign. The two Italian journalists paint a picture of a holy father overwhelmed by an unholy mess, aging, unwell, and betrayed by those who were supposed to support him.
Thank you for the prayers.
Benedict says he's not forsaking the church, but according to these accounts, it's the church bureaucracy, faction-ridden and weakened by scandal, that's forsaking him. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Rome.
Well, it's obviously hard to pierce the walls of secrecy surrounding the inner workings of the Vatican. We want to talk about it more tonight with Christian Amanpour, host of Amanpour. She's in Rome, and senior Vatican analyst John Allen is also there. He's a senior correspondent for the National Catholic Reporter. John, you see the idea of an existence of some sort of network of gay men or gay priests or high officials inside the Vatican. Isn't it all improbable? But do you believe that's the reason the Pope is resigning?
No, Anderson, I don't. I think for the most part, you have to take Benedict XVI at his word that he's resigning because of his age and because of fatigue. Now, on the other hand, I think you have to ask the question, why is he so fatigued? And I think at least part of that picture is that he has spent much of the last 8 years frustrated that his efforts to be a teaching pope, to conduct a kind of global graduate seminar in the relationship between reason and faith and so on, had been hampered by a kind of endless series of crises and controversies and meltdowns, some of them coming in from the outside and some of them self-inflicted. So I think that is indeed part of the calculus, but fundamentally I don't think there is some deep, dark secret. I think this is one of those cases in terms that what you see is what you get.
John, what is known exactly about O'Brien? The allegations I've heard are a number of allegations apparently made by some current priests and even, I believe, one former priest of inappropriate efforts to have some sort of relationship or make some sort of pass at these people when they were priests. And this is a guy who, when the British government was considering, gay marriage, came out vehemently against it, saying, and I quote, their attempt to redefine reality is given a polite hearing. Their madness is indulged. Their proposal represents a grotesque version of a universally accepted human rights. I mean, if this guy was, in fact, making advances at other male priests, the level of hypocrisy is great.
Oh, well, you're right. It almost defies belief that someone would be leading such a double life and yet taking such a hard line in public. Now, of course, it is important to say that Cardinal O'Brien has firmly denied these charges. He's taken legal counsel. That is, he's hired a lawyer to help him respond to these charges. And so as this story plays out, it remains to be seen how much fire there is beneath the smoke. I think what's relevant for the Vatican at the moment is that this has resurrected the drumbeat of criticism that it has faced over the years, that it's sort of moral preaching to the world about sexual rectitude, in some cases at least, not matched on the ground by the behavior of some of its clergy.
It's interesting, Christian, because the church, there are some who are alleging that these revelations, these allegations are being made in a way to kind of influence who the next pope could be. How would that influence who the next pope could be?
Well, this was perhaps, I would have to say in my experience, a typical lashing out by those who are trying desperately to have a better spin on this story right now. I don't buy that. I think it's the typical defensive mechanism of people who simply don't want to hear the truth. And the truth is, if the church was trying to prevent, a cardinal from coming here for a reason it couldn't, because there are so many of them. I mean, the disgrace of this really is that it's touched every diocese in the United States. It's exploded across Europe under the auspices of, or rather during the reign of Pope Benedict. And I was told tonight that this is probably going on in dioceses all over the world. And one of the things that was incredible, one former priest said that, perhaps 50% of priests who enter the priesthood may be gay. I talked to a long-time veteran journalist here in Rome who said it's well known that monsignors and others in the Vatican conduct affairs either with women or men. The real issue here is there is a difference between having affairs and committing crimes against young boys, which is what happened under these priests for so many generations.
What do you make of the Church, the Vatican, coming forward and making a public statement saying essentially this is an effort to influence the picking of the next pope? I mean, that's an extraordinary statement for them to have made.
Their insistence is that this secret dossier, which allegedly talks about a gay lobby potentially having a role in the Vatican leak scandal, this dossier, so far as we know, has only been read by one guy, and that's Pope Benedict XVI. So the pretense to know its contents, may well be open to question. So, I mean, one could argue that some sort of response had to be made, but I think the practical effect of using such high-octane rhetoric in that statement is that it has simply given additional legs to the story and made the hill the Vatican has to climb to get over this that much more steep.
Christian Owen, Port
Yes.
Allen, thanks so much.
May I tell you? You don't hear nothing yet, you know. The man asks the question, is there something happening with these so-called pedophiles and gay priests to influence the next pope, which was elected today, Pope Francis? So, we did tell you, say, you're going to hear some things, you know. We did tell you, say, we're going to hear something about why the Pope stepped down. And there is a lobbyist group, and we want you to know that 12 of the cardinals in that, how much dozens of cardinals who elect this Pope, were accused of abusing children. Yes, 12 of them who was there was known pedophiles. This is no secret. And the gay community might be glad to know that there is a number. Here Christian Amanpo talk about 50%. We are, well, my information, after going through certain things, we know that the gay homosexuality amongst Roman Catholic priests past 50%. In other words, more than 50% of Roman Catholic priests are gay. So, you know, say, the gay guys, them in Jamaica, you have somewhere to run to. Run to the Roman Catholic Church. It's a serious thing. But some other things why happen now, because the gay lobbyists, them, and the pedophile lobbyists, them, is so powerful that we're going to see down the line why this Argentinian from an European background was elected to now further the well, we don't really want to say it, you know, but we're going to see, because I know what, you see, sometimes when you say certain things, a man has a muta where you get them foolishness from, but here we know. You see this Pope here, him going to change up enough things. Enough things, believe you me. That's why I say, you see the gay guys, them, if you don't want some blessing, run to the Roman Catholic Church, because that's where it's at. This is the Cutting Edge on FM. Today I look on this inauguration of this Pope. And I say, you know, I talk and I say, but look, you know, in a very obscure place in the earth, a place named Israel, Palestine, very obscure place in the earth. A peripheral thing happen, and it give rise to where we see go on in a room today. Hundreds of thousands, and a matter of fact, 1 billion people rally around this so-called Vicar of Christ in one of the richest cities in the world and the smallest city in the world. And we say, wow, look there. A little obscure place in the world with some obscure people give rise to that. So we just reflect on the Rastafari movement in a very weird way. There's a parallel drawn in an obscure island, very obscure island, with some very strange looking people. It gives rise to a cultural expression that now define what it is to recognize life and nature and the energy that life really give to people who want to receive it as something of value.